Hey, what's up? It's Bad Pipes Podcast, and we're back for another week of boy time.
Yeah.
Is
I'm
there
your host.
music?
Oh yeah, what? I'm your host, Scott.
I'm your host,
Isn't it-
Andrew.
Isn't there supposed to be music?
That's the magic of post-production. I'll put the music in later.
Yeah, you'll hear the music start in like right. We're gonna insert it right. Right.
You're gonna look so silly because the music's gonna be playing this whole time, and everyone's gonna be like, "What is he talking about?"
Now, the music just started right now.
Right
didn't.
now.
It didn't.
Right
It's been playing this whole time.
now. Damn it.
Oh no! I was gonna play a YouTube video. All right, well, get that bot out of here. All right, so realistically, what we're doing this week is we're gonna be talking about the Banshees of Inisherin.
Banshees of Inisherin.
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 In her Sharon, we're gonna find some banshees.
Yep.
That's the first thing that we're gonna talk about after this other thing we talk about today. The Acolyte, Star Wars, The Acolyte trailer dropped.
Big hypes in chat. Big hypes.
Big claps in chat. Clap those big cheeks in chat for the everyone who's involved with this production. Wow, they really impressed me with this trailer. I liked when the one guy, he had lightsaber and he take out lightsaber and the lightsaber went boom. Yeah.
I did like Lee Jung-jae because I like Lee Jung-jae.
The guy playing Soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he seemed fine.
Yeah.
But you know
is-
he's gonna be like the villain or something by the end of it.
If you guys have not seen the Korean mobster movie New World, I highly recommend it. It is very good, and he is the lead in it.
Well, you know what? We could do that for next week.
Oh man, I meant to write down a list of just terrible movies that Amazon keeps freaking recommending me from like the 80s. So maybe we'll do like that as like the one good one, and then I'll make you watch like one of these shitty 80s movies every week until we run out of them.
Fair. Fair.
All right, realistically though, I went into this trailer trying to be as like
Open-minded.
unbiased, yeah, open-minded. I like how I said that. I tried to go into it as open-minded as I could and just being like, does this actually look like it has legs to stand on? Do either of you guys know what the episode count is for this?
I believe it is 10.
I think it's
might
8,
be
right?
It might be 8. Yes, it is 8.
Yeah, it looks like it's 8. Now, Ahsoka was also 8 episodes, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly about our review of Ahsoka, it was me complaining that every single episode had at least 25 minutes of filler, and that was
Yeah.
for the 30-minute episode. And for the hour 20-minute episode, it had 90 minutes of filler, which is more than the episode was.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. We both agreed that they could have just made a movie.
Yeah, they could have made like a 2.5-hour movie, which would
Yeah.
be like common for streaming now, and it would have played a little bit better.
You cannot do filler episodes in a live action show unless your
That's what I'm
show is
saying.
built around the idea of a procedural like The X-Files or Fringe or whatever.
Well, look at
You
the
cannot
budgets
do
of these shows
filler
too.
episodes.
Like they're spending Game of Thrones money
I know.
and not getting anything close to that kind of quality.
Nope.
Yeah.
They're getting closer to like a fucking soap opera than they are a premiere show.
Do you know how easy it is to make a good Star Wars show? You do. You both do. All you have to do is abandon the nostalgia factor. Take me somewhere in the galaxy. It could be a planet we know. That's fine. Rip off any of the plots from any of the samurai films from 1940s, 1950s, or 1960s. Copy and paste Star Wars characters into it, and it would be a banger Star Wars movie.
Dude, you could do fucking Godzilla in Star Wars and it would work.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You could do... There's tons of stories. The point is, they just need to abandon the characters.
Yeah, the issue is that they send out these surveys to people and they're like, oh, when you think of Star Wars, what do you think of? And people are like, R2-D2, Chewbacca, Jedi, lightsabers. And then they're like, all right, every show from here on out, we're going to have a Wookiee, we're going to have a cute little droid, and we're going to have some lightsabers.
Even that origin...
Sorry, the most entertaining thing about the first season of The Mandalorian was that there was not a lightsaber in it until fucking Gideon showed up with the darksaber. And you're like, if you're a lore guy, you're like, oh, okay, he's Mandalorian doing Mandalorian things. But like, that was it, you know?
Yep.
Since then, lightsabers have been just a mess. A mess in Star Wars.
And the choreography, I'm going to be honest, we have not had decent saber choreography since the prequels. We just haven't.
Yeah, I think that was one of our big gripes about Ahsoka, as I was saying that some of the choreography was kind of janky.
Anakin's choreography was good, but that's because
Anakin's choreography was good.
Right, he's just doing what he'd learned before.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think our big thing was Ahsoka.
Yeah, Balon was also very good.
Yeah, Balin's cool, but like
very different style.
I think my big thing was they got very caught up on having Rosario Dawson play Ahsoka, and I don't know whether it was her stunt double, the choreography, her lightsaber choreography looked pretty janky.
Well,
yeah.
What I would say is that I think they just don't have good fight choreographers for some reason with Disney in a whole, because one of the biggest gripes I heard about that show Echo for Marvel was that the fights looked dog shit. And then you'd see these clips of them posted online, and you're like, yeah, that does look bad.
In the first season of Daredevil, in the second season of Daredevil, those fights were awesome. The choreography was great.
First season of Daredevil, where they have that fight down the hallway, and by the end of it, they're like on the roof, and they're both like ragged and fucking heaving, you know, like
Punisher 2. All those Netflix, the Netflix Marvel shows had pretty decent choreography, fight choreography.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
except for Iron Fist. Iron Fist was pretty bad.
Iron Fist was just bad in general. So was Luke Cage.
Oh, dude, Luke Cage had its good parts.
Yeah, I was like, I kind of like Luke Cage.
Mahershala Ali as Copperhead was the best part of that show.
No way, dude. The main guy who played him, he was very good for that role.
He was just okay. Honestly, if they had just taken the stunt choreographer from the first season of The Witcher, some of that was pretty sick. They had just taken that guy and put him into Star Wars. Just do that.
Well, who's the guy that did the fight choreography for The Force Awakens? Because he's like the raid guy. Why did they not just bring him in for the other stuff? Like, you got Disney money, throw it around, get the best of the best.
Yeah.
He's literally in The Force Awakens. Why would you not just be like, hey, keep doing shows with us?
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is Disney needs to let Star Wars be international. They need to let some other filmmakers from other countries, like Indonesia, Japan, take some cracks at Star Wars.
Dude, you mean to tell me we shouldn't have activists filming the next Star Wars movie?
Yeah, I'm saying crack it open. Like, let me see, Bong Joon-ho won an Oscar. He won multiple Oscars.
We should have real directors, not documentary directors, filming the next Star Wars movie?
Give him a Star Wars.
Dude, I'm sure you're talking crazy talk.
Dude, can you imagine a Star Wars fight scene like the train fight scene on Snowpiercer when the lights go out? Do you know that dark fight scene?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be so sick.
Didn't we talk about that, Andrew?
What, Snowpiercer? and then the lights go out.
I feel like we talked about that specific scene in one of our
That's
previous
just a metal
episodes.
fucking scene, dude. You got all the dudes in the butcher's
Oh,
aprons, and
good.
they just dip the fucking axes in the fish guts, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, these guys are fucking metal.
So good. It's such a good movie. Oh man, yeah. So anyway, Bong Joon-ho, I think letting these international directors who know what they're doing, like, give them a shot, because their perspective on Star Wars, the way it's affected their lives, is going to be way more in common with the majority of the people who truly love Star Wars.
No way, dude. It's the fucking activist documentary makers. They know what's wrong with the world. They gotta fix us through Star Wars.
They need to hire the guy who did the Cerveza Cristal commercials on the Chilean edit.
Dude, I get recommended those all the time on Instagram now.
I love those so much. It's so good.
The fucking the
apparently-
one where he's like, your father wanted me to give this to you when you were old enough, and he pulls out the fucking beer.
My favorite is when Han Solo cuts open the tauntaun and 4 beers fall out.
Oh my god.
He hands one to Luke. That was so
they're
successful.
silly, dude.
That was so successful. They did it for multiple other films. They did it for American Beauty. They did it for Gladiator. They just got in Cerveza Cristal.
So here's the thing. This quote came up today while I was listening to a podcast. It was actually it's Miniac and Ninjon, their podcast, but they're miniature painters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And John was on this rant about Games Workshop and them not having like real prizes for a tournament that they do. And he's like, I wrote the quote down in a notebook that's out in my car right now, so I'm just gonna try to recreate the quote as best I can here. But he's like, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I don't hate Games Workshop or Warhammer, right? I'm just frustrated because I love them and they're doing frustrating things, and that is like it 100%. I was like, oh, that's absolutely me with Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Like, you love it because you're so passionate about it, and when you see someone absolutely fumbling something that you're so passionate about, it's very, very frustrating. And like, that's where I'm at with Star Wars, where I'm like, I'm very, very frustrated. And whenever I was watching the trailer for this, I was like, oh, okay, you're trying to set it up like you're gonna have this black woman who's the bad guy, but we know that it's gonna be like a misrepresented kind of thing where it's like, no, I'm actually trying to do the good thing, you know? And then you have this person with the red lightsaber show up, and it's just not, you know what it's going to be about. It's going to be about like, oh, power dynamics. And you're like, I don't want another story about that. That's what every single one of these stories have been about. And that's not what Star Wars is about.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm frustrated with the trailer.
Yeah, I just want to see like, I just want to see them treat Star Wars like a regular show and stop trying to make it, ooh, Star Wars. Just like, give me a good drama that's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Give me a good action show that's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Just stop trying to be like, ooh, Star Wars. Like, they always like, everything's touched by John Williams' score, or it's touched by, you know, the like little nostalgia things, like having all the younglings sitting there talking in the Acolyte trailer, or they always have to have
How
something.
did you guys
that's like,
feel about those lines that they say where it's like, I see life, I see balance, I see fire.
yeah, that kid who said fire, he's a fucking psycho. He's gonna be a Sith, promise.
It was a girl.
Yeah, she's gonna be a Sith, promise. 100%. I
No
see corpses
way.
burning.
See, that's
Yeah.
the thing is like, first off, lore-wise, if you're bringing Sith in, it's going to be real disappointing. And yet you set it up as if you're bringing Sith in. So if you don't bring Sith in, the people that were excited for that are going to be disappointed, right? So it feels to me like this show is just set up to disappoint whoever's going to watch it.
Yeah, probably.
But at this point, I think the only people watching Star Wars are the fucking seal clapping people, you know? So, like, new Star Wars, yay! Like, I don't know who else this appeals to.
You mean like people who say like, as long as they're giving me Star Wars, I don't care. It could be as shit as they want it to be.
Stick me to the tube. I need that content gruel, or else I'll wither and die.
This week,
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
started playing Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original Star Wars Battlefront 2, with my son.
Oh,
he
that's news I
is-
wasn't even gonna touch on.
He is obsessed with Battlefront 2.
I mean, it's a very good game. Did you guys see that they tried to resell it for $35?
I did see that.
Oh my god, how do you fumble that so hard? It's a 60 to 70 gigabyte download for something that I'm looking at on my computer from the 2005 one that's like, what, maybe a gig? Maybe?
Yeah, Asper sucks at it. If anybody played their KOTOR port on PC or consoles, because honestly, if you're not buying the original Xbox version, it's only a Asper port now. It is dog shit. Their ports are always dog shit. The only one that's somewhat decent is the Republic Commando port. That one runs decent. The rest of them are dog shit.
It is
Somehow-
6.78 kilobytes.
No.
Star Wars Battlefront 2 Classic says it's 6.78 kilobytes.
There's
It's not
no
even a
way.
fucking gig.
There's no way.
Hey, you still got those hard copies I gave you, Andrew?
I think I do.
It was
they're
like the
over on
whole
shelf
collection.
over there.
Oh, hell yeah.
No, 4.3 gigs.
What a
I got
throwback.
it. 4.3 gigs.
That's crazy.
4.3
Why
gigs.
does my general say it's only fucking...
That's probably
Must be
the
like game
the-
files
the-
or something.
Yeah. If you go to the Steam page and scroll down, classic, it's 4.3 gigs.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
mean,
I had to sit there and watch it download for fucking ever when I first got it on PC back in the day. Like, there's no way it was that small.
still though,
that-
even if it was fucking 5 gigs, like... And then you hear these stories about like, well, not stories. I mean, the going knowledge is that they used AI to upscale the textures in the game. But like, the textures of the upscaled AI version, if anything, a lot of people were saying they look worse. To me, I was also saying like, if you think they look better, you're not going to think that they look that much better than the original. And also, the game doesn't play any differently from the original, except for the fact that it isn't playable. But as far as like the actual gameplay goes, right, like going through, shooting, etc., all of that's the same. The server thing was insane. The fact that they only had about 200 server like slots.
Dude, when they had
servers
over
for people to play.
10,000, when they had over 10,000 pre-orders, do your fucking math.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
they had 3 servers per region, and there were only 3 regions.
In the max was 200 people total across all regions,
Yeah,
which is nuts. Yeah.
and
Apparently the offline game plays fine, but the online still atrocious.
no, I heard that the campaign, half of the cutscenes were not in the campaign.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Like the game would not load the cutscenes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so 60 to 70 gigabytes. So that is a significant chunk of your hard drive space, or solid state drive if you're cool, I guess. That's a sizable amount. $35 for both games, if it was just that, is possibly okay if they came out in a state that the old one was in. But like the servers for the old one are still up, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So like
On PC they are.
it's just
The OG
Star
Halo
Wars.
2 servers are back up, by the way.
wow, that's crazy.
I know.
That's
They
wild.
launched. They went back up yesterday.
Whew.
Yeah. I'm excited. Very excited.
All right, so do we have any like finishing, closing thoughts on the Acolyte trailer?
It's dog shit.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10.
That's fair.
I'll give it a 4.
What the fuck?
I will
Alright,
give
never
it
mind.
one.
I'm giving it a
I will
2.
give it-
I'm giving it a 2.
I will
Just
give
to
it-
spite you. I'm giving
I
it a
will
3.
give it. I will give it a 1 Carrie-Anne Moss out of 10 because I like her and she's in it.
I'm usually lower than Andrew, so I have to be higher than him this time.
Alright, never mind. I'm going to 1 out of 10.
All
I
right,
agree
I'm
with
going.
Isaac.
All right, I'm going to a 2.
Alright, fair enough. Alright, so
No, I think I mentioned I watched it and I said something to Casey. And I said I just feel it's hard to watch Star Wars trailers, Star Wars shows, anything Star Wars related in the Disney era and not feel like the Force's female tropes and whatnot are getting shoved down your throat.
especially for something that like dude, like I feel like you're always gonna catch flack for making statements like this, but like the demographic of people who like Star Wars is like overwhelmingly male.
Yeah.
That was the whole reason they bought Star Wars in the first place, was to have a boys property. It's why they didn't make another John Carter parentheses of Mars, you know. That and the fact that they absolutely fucking backstabbed the release of that movie. But the whole point of it was to have boys properties. Star Wars, Marvel, those were meant to be boys properties to balance out the fact that Disney was really just making movies for girls. Like princess movies were primarily for girls. Now you do get ones that are like Aladdin or things like that might have a male protagonist, but you look at the overwhelming majority of them, they're for girls. But with that in mind, they made them to appeal to everyone, right? So Aladdin, Mulan, what's the one about the girl in the bayou with the frog? Princess and the Frog? All these movies were meant to appeal to everyone. But what they're doing now is they're like shanking their male audience and like not fulfilling anyone, which I think is why you overwhelmingly see the numbers on these shows just like the viewers plummeting. It's why when an actual good show like Andor comes out, no one watches it because you decided to make a show about a character that no one cared about. And then you decided to give that show the best writers.
Yeah, Tony Gilroy crushed it on that show. It's very good.
Yeah, that show was awesome. And everything since then. And for a long, I mean, everything else Disney has been just like a disappointment. And I'm frustrated.
I do have hope for the Bioshock movie. I do have hope for that. That will be good.
Bioshock movie.
Yeah, on Netflix. Francis Lawrence is doing it. The guy who did Constantine and a few of the Hunger Games movies. The good Hunger Games movie. He's a very good director. I'm very excited about it.
Oh, there's a question. Are you guys looking forward to the Fallout show?
No.
Did we talk about this last week?
I think we mentioned it.
week. Yeah.
Because, yeah, I think someone else asked me. They were like, "Oh, yeah, there's that Fallout show coming out," and I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
what's it gonna be about though?"
Falling
I don't
out.
know.
A lady who escaped from a vault.
No way, dude. They wouldn't make a woman the protagonist. That's ridiculous. I, as a white male gamer, would never abide such a thing.
It's the thing with all of this, for all of these things, to me, that is the most frustrating, is that the story of the first Fallout game and the second Fallout game and Fallout 3 and even parts of Fallout 4 are all pretty good. Just use one of those.
That's what I said when like Disney initially got rid of all the legacy stuff, because I was like, dude, there are so many things in that you could make good movies out of, like any of the games, any like any of the successful runs of comics, right? You just need someone good with adaptations to like make that stuff. Like,
I'd love to see a Jedi Outcast.
this will be my 9,000th time harping
Go.
on this, but the Tales of the Jedi comics are incredible. They are Star Wars to the core. They are about two brothers who have like the biggest falling out of all time, and like how like Greek tragic levels of tragedy go on in that, and yet it's still a story about redemption. And it's so beautiful. And they literally overwrote it with Tales of the Jedi, another Ahsoka show.
Which actually was not bad, though.
I disagree. It was a whole bunch of stuff that no one cared about and no one needed to see.
I didn't watch it. I haven't watched anything. I watched Ahsoka because of the podcast. I didn't watch Andor, which I'm told I should watch by many people. But I watched like 2 episodes of Obi-Wan. I didn't even watch the most recent season of The Mandalorian. I didn't watch Boba Fett. Because, I don't know, I think I got exhausted. I decided to stop even trying.
I mean, that's the thing. It is exhausting to watch something you love get, like, pummeled.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Jake Paul's going to get his ass kicked in July.
Oh my god, dude. He finally got the Tyson fight. Oh my god. Dude, he's going to get ripped to shreds by that old-ass man.
It's rare to know the day you're going to die. But
like,
now he knows.
Typical Jake Paul fashion to fight a fighter who's like almost twice his age.
Here's the thing. Have you seen the training videos for freaking...
Yeah. He's still terrifying.
He's still terrifying. He's still a fucking monster. Iron Mike? Dude, you're gonna go fight Iron Mike? You want to be another fucking headstone in his vast book of obituaries, dude?
Also,
that's crazy.
He's known for notoriously not giving a fuck about any rules or things set in stone before the fight begins. Like, this man...
Did you see that video that was like, in the rules for the Tyson fight, Jake can actually tag in his brother Logan at any time, and the two of them can fight together. And then, like, the comments for the video, because, like, the video was just, like, you know, being jokey anyway, but, like, the comments were like, another rule is that Jake gets to pick whatever firearm of his choice to use, you know? And they're all just, like, making... Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
just like...
guy.
Mike Tyson is literally 30 years older than him. And it's just hilarious how he always tries to pick on these fighters. I'm not saying Mike Tyson isn't gonna absolutely wreck him, but Jake Paul's only ever fought fighters who are significantly older than him and won every time. The one time he fights someone who's like potentially in his prime, in Tommy Fury, he loses.
Yeah.
He also...
And Tommy Fury's not even the best of the Fury brothers or cousins or family, you know?
Right. Yeah, he's not fighting Tyson.
He's his nephew?
He's not fighting Anthony Joshua. He's not fighting any of the fighters who are actually the top of the game.
Yeah, it's like fight a retired MMA guy, fight a basketball player. Like, what is this lineup, you know?
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird when you have that much money that you can just feed your ego constantly.
God.
Oh, I hope he gets his ass kicked. Speaking of that, we should now transition.
Banshees of...
Wait, you know who else has a long history of fighting? The Irish. The Irish. And this movie takes place during a time whenever the Irish were fighting the Irish. We're talking about Banshees of Inisherin.
Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah.
Inisherin.
Featuring Donald
Colin Farrell.
Gleason's dad.
Yes.
That's our segue from Star Wars there.
Fair. Brendan Gleeson, Colin Farrell.
This is when
Barry
you cut in the Hitler
Kogan.
speech from Force Awakens. The General Hux
Yeah.
Hitler speech. Right here. Just cut it in
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah, that's more editing skills than I have, buddy.
Man, we don't even have music right now. That's wild.
Yeah, we don't even have music right now. You think I can handle cutting things? What is this, the circumcision podcast? Get out of here.
Welcome to Moyles.
There you go, bro.
She, you know I'm clean, brother.
Oh my god.
Banshees of Inisherin. All right.
Cool.
What was this movie about?
It's deep. Deep.
So one Irish guy decides he isn't going to be friends with another Irish guy.
Yeah.
And to demonstrate the level of determination that he has, he begins cutting off his fingers to prove that he doesn't want to be friends with him anymore. However,
It is a
it's
thinly
twofold.
veiled allegory for the Irish Civil War.
Yeah.
That's what it is. One part of Ireland just deciding it doesn't want to be a part of the other side of Ireland anymore.
I was taking an allegory to like, I think like humanity in general.
Yeah, it could definitely be applied that, but the intention originally for the was
Fair.
it's very much supposed to be an allegory of the Civil War and the one part of Ireland being like, but why? And I think, yes, you can definitely apply it all in general. And there's parts of the allegory that don't necessarily work, but it definitely when I walked out of it, I was like, okay, yeah, I get it, I understand.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're clearly showing you there with like, oh, the war is going on in the background, and then like, here's a microcosm of it, right?
Right.
A bunch of people that don't really know or care what's happening, and then the people who really care being like, I don't know, like the fucking cop being like, yeah, I'll go watch anyone die.
Right.
As long as you feed me, I'll fucking do it myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's some truth there, right? In that, like, in war, like, war is where humanity becomes, like, most important because it is so dehumanizing. That aspect of, how's that poem go? For whom the bell tolls, right? Do not ask for whom the bell tolls. For, like, every handful of earth taken from the Isle of Man reduces it. Ask not for who it tolls for thee. Anyway, that idea of like, yeah, like we're only harming ourselves, right? Which you see clearly with Mr. Gleason. He's a very talented musical guy, and how does he try to get back at his friend that he no longer wants to be friends with because he's simply boring? He starts cutting fingers off of the hand that he needs to play the damn fiddle.
He also knows that he's going to die, though, so that's part of it.
Well, we're all going to die, right?
Yeah, but I think I think it was Colin Farrell said that he saw this movie as watching one man's joy disintegrate. Because at the beginning of the movie, his character is so happy and stoked, and then by the end of the movie, he's just devastated.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, this movie's really dark, but most of Martin McDonagh's movies are very dark. But it's also very funny, as most of his movies are as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is the In Bruges guy, right?
Yeah, In Bruges, yeah. Seven Psychopaths, 3 Billboards. This is very much in line with a lot of what he's done in the past, and he's a playwright too. I mean, he was a playwright before he made movies. He's a very popular, very famous playwright. So this movie does run like a play as well. Like most of his movies tend to have those aspects, but this one definitely does a lot. But also, like, if you marry this, his brother, Martin McDonagh's brother, did a movie called Calvary, also about like an Irish coastal community with Brendan Gleeson, and that one also kind of has like it's a dark, twisted sense of humor, also very heavy. That's kind of the Irish way of making movies. I think the Danes do it very similar. Danish films are very similar. Their sense of humor is just very dark, but always wildly entertaining.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, very dark, but also very funny. And I mean, like, at the end, whenever you got this, like, this kid that you've seen kind of, like, turn into a real person, and then he, you know, tosses himself in the lake, or the sea, I guess. It's, I don't know, like, I found that part to be the most non-Irish Civil War allegorical aspect of the movie, you know? Like, I was struggling to think of, like, well, how does that fit into that, like, greater theme, I guess?
Have you? So there's like someone posted a really good interpretation from like the other like side of it, like kind of that human allegory. Have you read it at all?
No.
Do you want me to read you a little bit of it?
Sure.
It's pretty good. So it says the Banshees of Inisherin.
Oh, wait, where's it from?
It's a Reddit post.
Okay.
So from someone named Jake Z32.
Thanks, Jake Z32.
On True Film. Yeah. So it says the Banshees of Inisherin is about how humans, separated from animals, intellectualize themselves into conflict. Pardrick is pure niceness / stupidity, mirrored by the animals prominently featured in the film that he loves so much. Colm, through humanly seeking to immortalize himself via his art, represents conflict / intelligence, and is mirrored by the cross imagery which figures in the conflict between Protestants and Catholics in the Irish Civil War. The niceness / stupidity versus conflict / intelligence dichotomy resembles the one / many dichotomy. Reality is unified until humans, via their intellect, divide it up into categories / identities, which, apart from the violence of slicing up the world, also notably leads to conflict between these categories as the differences become irresolvable. Pardrick's harmonious stupidity is slowly made untenable as Colm separates himself. This separation of friends becomes the separation of humans from animals. Colm's mind distinguishes itself from Pardrick and becomes the identity of an artist, promising the afterlife humans so crave. Pardrick doesn't understand this desire because he is subrational, without an identity. But after Shaban, which means grace of God, leaves and his donkey dies, he reaches a literal and figurative breaking point when he shatters the mirror, shattering his non-cognitive harmony into reasons and concepts. Pardrick then intellectualizes himself into conflict with Colm. Before, with Pardrick being a sub-rational creature, he didn't see that his trying to reconcile with Colm was causing Colm to cut off his fingers, which would belie his niceness if he were rational. But then, when his donkey accidentally eats finger and dies, he rationalizes the death as caused by Colm, and thereby a cause for conflict becoming human. At the end, after Colm mentions the Civil War possibly being over, Pardrick says, "I'm sure they'll be at it again soon enough, aren't you? Some things there's no moving on from, and I think that's a good thing, suggesting it's good to be human, even if it means endless casus belli." I'm not sure what that means, but I think they also mention when it comes to what's his name, Dominic, Barry Cogan's character.
Yeah.
As far as like taking his own life, they're saying, you know, he kind of has this interaction with Pardrick where he realizes like Pardrick has changed and you know, kind of not that same, you know, stupidity / niceness that he sees in of himself. He seeks to find love in Siobhan, literally the grace of God, seeks to find her, and when he's rejected, you know, he realizes there's nothing left for him and there's no meaning, and so he then ends his life.
Okay.
So I know it was a lot.
Siobhan means grace of God.
It does, apparently, in, I guess, Celtic. So, yeah, that's, I read that. That was kind of where,
That's a really good breakdown, honestly.
It is. I thought it was very good.
I love that
was
you'll
kind
get
of like
something like that on Reddit, but then you also get the people on Am I the Asshole that are just like,
oh yeah,
you're the asshole. You didn't fucking do everything for your partner, and now you should just fucking KYS.
You guys are just a couple of Jake V49 dick riders over here.
Look, Jake 32C, all right? Jake 30C2.
Jake Z32. Jake's 32.
Jake is 32, all right? He went to college.
Yeah, apparently. He said
Some of them words have more than 2 syllables.
He's probably from Connecticut.
I do think it's also interesting. He does bring up a lot, I guess, the kind of intertwining it in the allegory of the Civil War, how it's kind of like, I guess, almost like an allegory of human nature, as well as why they have conflict as far as like the Civil War. It's a lot. I mean, I read it and I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
He seems like a smart fellow.
Interesting. Yes, there's a lot to unpack in that, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, I feel like you can apply a character breakdown like that of, like, have somebody experiencing something in the plot that unlocks a catalyst that allows them to be fully cognizant or human, as I guess in this scenario.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really interesting.
Well, in I'm gonna forget the acronym. In like acting or theater, there's usually like 3 things that you're like looking for with a character, right? And it's like, oh shit, I think it's like ACR or something like that. It's like, no, this is improv. All right, in improv, you're looking for like 3 things with a character, right? To like elevate the scene or to like increase the stakes somehow. And it's like an accusation, a confession, or I think R might be realization. I can't remember, right? But it's like there's moments of like presenting information that changes a character, right? And the only reason a scene is going to be interesting is either because of like the way that the character just resolves something, or like if it isn't resolved, so whenever you're applying this like broadly humanitarian thing, or not humanitarian, humanist, I guess, wins to like a character's decisions and changes, and like the knowledge bringing them either to a sense of contentment or discontentment, like that's where you get real true depth, right? Like that's why this movie was fucking nominated and I think won awards, right?
It won a lot of awards. It didn't win any Oscars, but it won a lot of awards.
All right, yeah, but the Oscars are a bunch of fuckwits, so fuck them. Fuck the Oscars. This
I'm not
movie
a
was
fan
really
of
good.
this year's Oscars, specifically Oppenheimer, because Oppenheimer was fucking dog shit.
A Nolan hater.
I don't hate Nolan. I don't like Oppenheimer.
That's crazy that you hate Nolan.
Whoa, you hate Nolan?
This is an accusation. We're improvising now. I can't believe you fucking hate Nolan, you little shit. All right, we're not actually doing that. Right?
Zack Snyder also sucks. He's worse.
Wow, dude. Famous auteur director Zack Snyder? No way. You know, like a 2.5 hour movie that's 78 minutes of slow motion? You fucker. How dare you? Who else can we throw in here? J.J. Abrams? Oh, you don't like fucking lens flares, dude? You don't like it when questions that got raised in the first act aren't answered in the second act? What are you, idiot?
Nice. Nice.
A lot of insults there.
Who else do we have? Who's the fuckwit that made the second one?
The second one.
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson. Oh, you don't like it when people just throw out the script and decide to do their own thing, dude? In a trilogy of movies? I'm
That
sorry.
was pretty wild. That was pretty wild.
I got yelled at for being too loud.
You're being too loud.
I'm being too loud. Sorry,
You're
guys.
ruining-
Shelby
you're
came in
ruining
to the
The
room.
low
I could
def
see her.
Mediterranean for Shelby.
All right, what? Fuck Ryan Johnson.
God, you're so
Right.
hateful.
Bit done. What are we on to now?
Well,
Should we-
before we
Should we give our scores?
Before we move on, Isaac, were you going to say you had a final point there?
before we move on, there is. Did you guys enjoy this movie?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
little depressing, but I did
Yeah.
enjoy it.
There is. So obviously there's Martin McDonagh in all of these movies. There is a Danish director, Anders Thomas Jensen, who did a movie called Riders of Justice. Almost every single one of his movies star Mads Mikkelsen, because him and Mads are close. He did a movie a few years ago in 2020 called Riders of Justice, which was one of my favorite movies that year. Every single one of his movies.
Is that the Danish Civil War movie?
No.
Oh, okay, never mind
Riders, yeah, every single one of his movies are. His friend Nicholas Arcel does the Arn Danish Civil War movies. But his movie Riders of Justice and every movie that he's ever done, they are all tonally very similar to Banshees of Inisherin. Very dark comedy, with real moments of like just depression and darkness. But the Danish sense of humor is darker than that of something like Banshees of Inisherin. And so when it does get funny, I literally laugh through most of the movie just how awkward, because it's like he's looking at you, daring you to laugh. And his movies are phenomenal. That one, Riders of Justice, I would highly recommend that if you guys like this movie. It's different because it takes place now, but it's the same tone. Like tonally, it's very similar. So check Anders Thomas Jensen out. He's great.
Yeah, we might have to do that for an episode.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Love him.
All right, let's do our out of tens then. Isaac, you're at the top of the Discord.
Technically, I'm below recording. Craig, would you like to say anything?
Craig?
I will. Yeah, I would say I'd probably give it like an 8.
Interesting. Me being next on the Discord list, I think I would also give it an 8.
Nice.
You know what? I'm gonna give it. Let's stop. I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8.
Damn.
I was gonna go higher.
8. Have we ever done this before?
Triple 8.
Have we
I
ever
don't-
agreed?
I don't think so. I don't know. I think you and I might
no,
have.
I think
but-
we did on one of the episodes whenever Matt was here, because Matt was like poo-pooing on cyberpunk movies, and we were like, no. this
Oh,
one's like a-
hackers! Yeah, hackers. He was trying to shit on hackers, and we were like, "No, you don't get to do that." Hackers is a great movie.
Yes. All right, so a universal 8 from us, the whole cast and crew of Bad Pipes podcasts. I'm including Isaac in that because I'm gonna keep forcing him to show up. All right.
This podcast will be
Universally.
the single thing that is pulled into articles when I finally get anywhere with my directing career.
Yeah,
And,
here's the one to drag him down. I've heard
This-
Isaac Walsh say so many slurs.
Oh no,
Yeah, yeah.
he's bringing
And-
your career down.
And he hasn't. I don't think I've ever heard him say a slur, unless he was doing it funny. But he's not
Yeah.
even funny, so he probably hasn't.
Unless he was doing it funny, what does that mean?
Oh, you know what it means.
The only slur I have ever said in front of you or around you is calling you.
You say call me a cunt?
I also
fuck?
like how it kind of like bleeped him out, like the like.
Yeah, your internet fucking censored you there.
That's pretty good.
I cannot say a slur.
All right.
We used to throw that word around all the time with Smoothie King.
I mean, a lot of words got thrown around at Smoothie King.
That's true. True.
For better and for worse. Before we get into Gamergate 2 and what a fucking dumpster fire that's been, I watched this movie on Amazon, Ricky Stenicki. Have you guys seen or heard it?
Peter Farrelly's new movie. I have not seen it yet.
I have not.
So I watched it because Film Threat gave it a pretty good review, and I was like, all right, I'm interested. I watched it last night, and honestly, pretty good movie.
I have heard it's pretty decent.
Yeah. Like, there were definitely a few moments where I laughed. It seems like it has its heart in a good place, and it wasn't afraid to go to weird places to get laughs, and I just think that was like something that movies don't really do nowadays.
That is true.
Yeah, I would recommend it. I will say, it's pretty crass movie, but there's funny stuff. There's a whole bit about a fucking missionary dog show, which is absurd. Truly absurd. But apart from that, John Cena being this like out of work actor who gets his life together in a really weird way is like pretty wholesome. So it's simultaneously like a really gross but kind of wholesome movie. So I recommend it.
Nice. Get out.
All right, you guys ready for the dumpster fire?
Yes.
All right. Have you guys looked into this fucking Sweet Baby Ink stuff at all?
I have, and I'm curious if my take is going to be the same as yours.
What's your take?
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I got a lot prepared on this.
Shuffles the cards into order. Let's hear the
Okay.
speech.
So, I don't think there's an issue. I have a lot of arguments set up, but I think this is kind of just another red-pilled, right-wing manufactured outrage over there being wokeism in games. I can see there being some... First of all, I will say, I don't agree individually with a lot of, like, pretty much most of the vocal employees of SBI and, like, their views and what they've been saying. I think they're fucking idiots. I think they're idiots, and they've been saying a lot of dumb shit on the internet. I also think... the one who kind of started it and tried to get the group on Steam shut down.
Dude, Chris Kindred, which is who you're talking about, is a fucking menace to society.
Absolute idiot who, if they just kept their mouth shut and just not gone after this group, I think it just would have been a non-issue. I actually think, if anything, they only helped further their cause. Like, they only helped more people attach to this group and join this group. By doing that, I think they're an idiot.
Full transparency, I did join that Steam group.
Fair.
I followed the Steam curator list.
Yeah. So I think they're an idiot. I think the CEO's an idiot. Pretty much any of them who have been vocal, I think, are idiots.
Dude, even the people that have worked for them, right? Because now you have this thing about the girl that's like the lead of the game dev, whatever the development company is that's working on the Black Panther game, being like, yeah, I don't hire white people. And it's like, dude, you're putting your entire company, like, you're gonna get a lawsuit now because of that comment.
Yeah. Which I think is stupid. I looked into, so I dove into, like, a lot of like the games they worked on and the actual so like I looked at like God of War Ragnarok and the makeup of everyone who worked on that game, just to see like who they were, demographics and whatnot. Yeah, so yeah, it doesn't seem like they hire a whole lot of white guys. Now, granted, from what I understand, and I think this whole group has this idea that SBI is some mastermind that's like trying to inject wokeism and woke ideology into video games. When, from my understanding, they're a group of consultants that are hired by the companies in order to, like, say you have an entire writer's room of white writers, and they're trying to write a black character. Well, obviously, they're not going to be able to give it as much authenticity as someone who's actually black is going to be able to. So their job is to come in and make sure they give it some sort of authenticity. I don't think they're... The point is that they're being hired by the devs and by the companies to come in and do this. Now,
So,
granted,
a
this...
small refutation of that point is this guy
Mm-hmm.
Grooms, who was a Grummz. He was a dev at Blizzard for a long time. He's come out and basically been like, look, here's some like behind baseball, right? The easiest money to get right now is DEI money. So whenever a game is having issues getting funding, one of the easiest places they can get it from are these like DEI type companies, like funding companies, these like trust firms or whatever. So if a game is bad and it looks like it's going to be bad, they're going to have issues getting funding. So the easiest places for them to get funding is DEI money. But the issue with these DEI deals is that they're onion deals, and a lot of times one of the stipulations of getting the DEI money is that they're required to bring in a company like Sweet Baby Inc. or some of the other ones that have kind of also been getting flack from all this going on.
And I think to my point is people think this is BlackRock, this is Soros, this is this. They're trying to wokeify everyone. They're trying to wokeify everyone, and I think this is just solely a way. Companies are looking at this as a way to cover their bases, because what could also hurt them is, we portray someone of color or someone of a certain race in a negative light or do this, and then they're liable for other outrage coming from the other end. So it's like, okay, if we hire a consultation company that's making sure that we're portraying them properly, then we don't open up ourselves to more losses or litigation or anything like that. So it's kind of covering their bases. I think people just think like, they're coming, but I also want to, like, where is the wokeness in games? Like, I've seen a lot of people talking about this, and I've seen a lot of people ask people who are crying this, but like, where I think one of the only cases I've seen that could possibly be pointed at is the non-gendered language within the Spanish version of Spider-Man 2. I could see that. I don't know that's going to be Sweet Baby Inc.'s thing.
Spider-Man 2 is a good example, right? Because they take Mary Jane, who is not the hero of Spider-Man, right? And they turn her into like one of the most powerful characters in that game. She's literally like running around tasing like special agent mercenary type guys in different missions and things as if she's like fucking Mr. Splinter Cell, Mr. John Splinter Cell, right? And it's like, that's not what that character is. But like, they definitely had something to do with that, right? But then there's like the other side of it, right? Which is like, okay, so we put all the like the gay pride flags in, we do all that, we try to appeal to these people, right? But then when the game ships to like Saudi Arabia, all of that stuff gets pulled, right? And it's just like the hypocrisy right now in game developers and publishers, where they're like, yeah, look at us, we're so forward minded, but we still want our money, so we're still gonna send it to these countries that like it's legal to kill gay people, or it's legal to fucking like do whatever you want to people who are like transgender, gay, anything on the spectrum, right? And I think that one of the bigger issue there, right, is that hypocrisy with these companies, where they're like, oh, look at us, we're so open-minded, and like we're doing all of these very good things, and yet at the same time, with their other hand, they're sitting there taking money from like horrendous regimes, basically, to just build their profits, right?
It's called late stage capitalism.
Yeah.
That is a fair point. To your point of Mary Jane has many fights in the comics. Mary Jane does fight a lot in the comics. There are points to that. So I don't think that could be made into an argument, especially when your protagonist is still Spider-Man. Like that's the whole point of the game.
The hypocrisy that you're putting your finger on, though, is not just in gaming. It is across the board in every aspect of anything that we export or anything a corporation exports to any country. They look at movies that we send over to China all the time. They'll re-edit it for China all the time.
Or they'll shoot a movie in China mere miles away from a detainment
Uyghur
camp,
concentration camp. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like, socially, people are becoming aware of the fact that they're kind of being like fed all of this stuff here, but then watching the hypocrisy of these corporations. But then when you call out the corporation for being hypocrite, you get called a bigot.
Yeah, you get called a white nationalist or a racist or a Nazi, specifically Nazi.
But the reality
so
situation is,
so we're worried because these countries are not woke enough. But
no, I mean
the woke product is being shipped to them. That's like what I'm like. You got to say there's hypocrisy in that.
The unwokified version of the product is being shipped to them.
Oh, they were for these other countries. That's the point. They removed the stuff for these other countries, but then they tout it as a win when they release it here. And the reality situation is they're just being hypocritical.
Yeah, I think, again, I don't want to talk about media as a whole, because I think, yes, there are cases in the movies, whatnot. You know, that this is very much done in Hollywood. My take on the Force is female and Star Wars and all that. I just don't see it in video games. That's my point. Is like this whole Gamergate thing, and it's very clear when you look at Cabridus's the guy who started this whole thing. Like, he's very clearly a red pill. I mean, you go and you can look at his X account, and literally in the top of his X account is "freedom isn't free." Giga, putting his pronouns as Giga/Chad, and then on top of that, having tweets about like something like I believe it was a post where someone was talking about like PSN and Mortal Kombat, and he basically just goes like, yeah, basically it's not like a PlayStation issue. Mortal Kombat is full of, I believe he called them gays, and then another sort of like derogatory term in Portuguese for like prideful LGBTQ people.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, so like this is my point, is like I think this is just some more like this is manufactured outrage within like the gaming community of like, we just need to go after these people. It's sort of like I think my thing is like I don't know like why we're having a problem with this when like you could either just not play the game or you could play it, but then at the same time, like, we have successful games that like you can go look, like right now, Helldivers 2, Pal World, like all these ones, like we're seeing a lot more success there. So like obviously there's already sort of becoming this shift within the industry, I feel like, of people recognizing like the games they want and moving away from these like AAA titles, which are the main ones doing this. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Also too, with a lot of these AAA titles, they're just bad. Like, they're not fun, which is the whole point.
Yeah, no,
that's what I'm saying. Is like the reason that these games are taking the DEI money, right, is because they're bad games that go way over budget, right? If you look at Suicide Squad, Slade kills pisses on the Justice League. The game was in development for way longer than it should have been. It went way over budget. It was meant to be something else when they first started making it.
Still early access. And apparently it's trash.
Pretty sure it's out.
Yeah,
It was
it just is not good.
Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I
Okay.
thought I looked it up earlier and saw there was like still a countdown timer for like its actual release.
Oh no, there is a countdown timer for a special promotion right now. It is 40% off.
Okay.
It is 40% off. Barely a month and a half after it came out, so that'll tell you everything you need to know about that game.
I think what just like my stance on it is if you're going to create a game that you want to have mass appeal, but you can create a game for any niche that you want. You don't have to create a game for mass appeal. But if you're trying to create a game for mass appeal, just create it like Elden Ring is a great example. Obviously the difficulty curve is crazy. You can make your character whoever you want to be in that game. You create your character creator, you drop in, and you go. Now, if it's a story-driven game, even like Baldur's Gate 3, some people you don't have to play Baldur's Gate 3 if it's not your cup of tea. But if it is your cup of tea, you can play it, and you can make your character however you want to make your character in that game. And it's kind of like you want the option to do it, and do whatever you want to do. If you're going to make one of these massive games, just have the option there. But what they're doing is they're like taking linear narrative games in certain aspects.
What's a case? What's a case of that?
Well,
could you give me an example?
Kill the Justice League. And they're taking a big swing and failing because the narrative is not good.
Yeah.
Like the story's just not good. So all of the stuff that's happening around it, I don't care if maybe Ink was involved. The story's not. It's not. It's the story good, like, and they were involved with Spider-Man. Spider-Man was great. Yeah. I loved Spider-Man. I had no problem with Spider-Man. I played the shit out of Spider-Man.
I will say this: Spider-Man 2 got less excited of a reception than the first one did.
Well, that's because gamers are racist.
True, based.
Well, but Spider-Man 2 wasn't even Miles Morales though.
No.
He's in it a lot more.
He is.
If you guys remember, there was a controversy when that one first came out because the flag that was supposed to be the Puerto Rican flag was the Cuban flag. Yeah, do you remember that?
I do.
So good job on that, game devs. Fuck
yeah, they did kind of fuck that up.
It's one of those things where I feel like this is like I think the biggest problem with Gamergate 1 and Gamergate 2 is that it's people finding out information that they didn't know that makes them uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But then it's 90% of the discourse is these people who call themselves Giga Chan.
Yeah. I mean, it's both sides, right? Like, it's not the people who are kind of centrist who are the ones having the interesting discussions or the loudest discussions, right? It's the people who are on the far left and the far right who, one side is going like, seeing white people kiss in movies makes me want to throw up. And on the other side, it's like, oh, the Jews are behind this. And you're like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
You're both wrong.
The far right and the far left are always the loudest.
Yeah. No, I think that is the issue. Is it just seems like this group became a cesspool of the red pilled weirdos who just want to kind of hate on anything that they just kind of want to be a little racist.
Yeah.
I mean, I might agree with you if it wasn't for people like, Asmongold and a couple other commentators who have also spoken on the topic and have been like, the issue isn't so much trying to put more minorities into video games. It's the fact that, like, it's forced and a lot of times inauthentic, right? Because you look at some of your favorite characters of the past, right? Like Sergeant Johnson from Halo is a fucking awesome character, and whenever he dies, it's like a touching moment in that game.
Devastating.
Yeah, exactly. And it's you take these organic characters that are written to be characters, and instead of like fleshing out and really well writing an individual, you get these just like injected flat two-dimensional people that aren't like, there's nothing to attach to, there's nothing to like, I mean, there's nothing to like about them, right? Like, they don't go through any sort of like change, they don't have any character growth, and it's frustrating, right? But that's an issue that you're always going to come across in a bad game, and these bad games are the ones that are going for the DEI money, right? So it's an onion of issues.
There's bad games that aren't going for the DEI money, but I think
True.
There's also good games that are going for it as well.
Exactly. That's the thing. What Scott's point is it's kind of like it all comes out in the wash.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of this is nefarious as much as it is just the way that the industry is working.
I think my take on it is like it's free market. Just like the everything will, like you said, everything will come out in the wash. I think you just have to let the gamers really decide. Like, I mean, I think one good case is like, this is at least bringing light to like you can make an informed decision. Everyone should be free to what they want to do. If the devs want to, or a studio wants to make a game that has, two lesbian main characters of color, like they could do that, and it's everyone's prerogative to play that or not. Like they can make their own choice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that was my like big gripe with the Sweet Baby Ink people and like what they were like. I'm just like, if you just leave it be, like first of all, the group is a very small minority of everyone who has Steam. Like, I think there's like 120 million Steam users, and this is like less than 1% of all the listed Steam users. And it's like, if you just by them doing that, they pretty much just hurt their own case.
In the foot,
yeah,
for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
No, I think they're a bunch of idiots. Delving into like I was looking for like any speeches I could find on them and see if there was anyone who was kind of even moderately like reasonable, and it didn't seem like they're full of very reasonable people.
No,
they're at Sweet Baby Inc.
A kind of nefarious side of this, right, is that now you have these journos and things like blowing the story up, right, blowing it up. Gamergate 2, because Gamergate 1 got so many clicks, right?
Yeah.
So now Gamergate 2, it's gonna get clicks. And you have
huge
companies like Take This getting involved. This is just from their website. They're a 501c3 nonprofit mental health org providing resources and support that is tailored for the unique needs of the game development community and embraces the diverse cultures and issues of the game community. Basically, like vowing to fight the Gamergate 2 movement, right? And whenever you dig into them, their funding comes from a grant from the Department of Homeland Security. So like you literally have a federally funded group like taking on this thing, right? Which is like so ridiculous, right? And specifically, they've had articles about like combating extremists in gaming, right? And it's like, I don't know about you guys. I don't know very many people who have been like turned into extremists by playing video games or being part of like different video game communities, right? The closest we can come to that is something kind of like you're talking about, where it's like, the Giga Chad type people who no one likes to begin with all group up and they become one thing, or the little like don't buy Hogwarts Legacy because J.K. Rowling hates trans people. Like you've got these like very fringe groups, right, that are trying to exert as much power as they can over the industry. And it's just really frustrating as someone who just wants to like play a game like Helldivers that doesn't fucking take place in this world, And now you see like even Helldivers is getting flat because it's like, when are we gonna get a gay pride like cape or something like that? And then they just get banned, and people are like, oh wow, they're anti-LGBTQ. And it's like, no, you just don't fucking get the game, right? Like, it's not about Earth, it's not about the USA. I mean, to a degree, it's about the USA's militarism.
About Super Earth.
It's about Super Earth. It's about faceless people. You never see their face. You can't take your helmet off. If you're playing it correctly, you have your character's voice randomized so that every time your new disposable Helldiver drops in, you're like male or female or a different guy or a different girl. Like, the whole point is that, like, you're a faceless, nameless entity who gets fucking annihilated by bugs or automatons. And you try to annihilate some back. That's the whole thing. Yeah. And the fun of it is just being like, yeah, we're gonna die. It's gonna be funny. And the times when we're truly challenged and overcome that challenge are gonna be very rewarding. And that is why that game is so successful, right? It's not because of it's about fascists, you're fascist, and that's why everyone wants to play the game, because everyone wants to be fascist, right? That's not what it's about whatsoever.
Yeah.
And if anything, it's parodying it, right?
Yeah.
The
thing with Helldivers too is that's one thing that made the news was that, but there's people who have been who have requested other things that have also been banned.
Yeah. If you have any political discourse, you just get banned.
You get banned because they said they don't want that on anywhere near it. They want that gone. So any political discourse, regardless of what it is, gets banned.
Left or right, you're banned.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good way, especially for that game, to go about it.
And it's also kind of in line with the story of the game.
Yeah. Super based. All right. I think I'm a fascist now. I love Helldivers too. I have one god, and that god is Super Earth. All right. My life for Super Earth.
Managed to democracy.
How about a cup of liberty?
Yeah, I do. The more I looked into this, the more I felt it. Like, the nugget to take from this whole thing is that the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security have a task force consistently investigating what they believe as a potential extremist domestic homefront terrorist organization operating inside of video games.
I think they're going to be sorely disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. But that is a thing. That is real.
I don't know, guys. I've heard about a lot of World of Warcraft players going and join Hamas.
Well, that specific group of people, I would not be surprised.
I was gonna say League of Legends.
I've heard about a lot of League of Legends players who are doing domestic terrorism.
Yeah, there is definitely
a little Trump accent going on there.
It's gonna be huge. All right, we're gonna take top lane, and then we're gonna take the election. Okay.
Do you have any friends playing Star Citizen? Are they okay?
Star Citizen. Oh god, there's a name I haven't heard in years.
Oh man, yeah. I do think though that this will all eventually just go away, because I don't think there's any there's nothing that changes from this other than it is like the BlackRock Vanguard thing.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, so now what?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
I think it all just pretty much blows over like anything. People are gonna continue to post about it for a little while, and then they'll move on to the next.
I'm not gonna participate in the housing market because BlackRock owns all of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, it's like at some point things are out of your control. I do think, as far as video games go, the free market will decide. Gamers will decide what they want. I think it's become pretty clear. There have been so many failure AAA games, and yet you can have someone come out with a Pokemon with guns, and it does really fucking well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think too, like, well, like, for example, Dragon's Dogma 2 is about to come out. That game's been in development forever. I'm going to play the fuck out of that game this summer. I'm very excited about it. I put hundreds of hours into the first one. So, and that's one of those things where it's like, people are going to buy it and like it, or they're not. And that's how everything goes. You never know what's going to work. You never know what's not going to work. They throw everything at the wall, whatever sticks, makes money, and they try it again, and it blows in their face.
Yeah. Live by the blade, die by the blade. Live by the DEI, die by the DEI. That's what I say, you know?
Capitalism. Yep. Capitalism.
Yeah.
Managed democracy.
People are fairly certain that there's going to be an anti-woke movement here before long. So
I don't think there is, like, I don't think the DEI woke thing is as much of a Illuminati cabal as everybody thinks that it is.
No, I think it's just people, like, it's
just money.
Ding-dong money firms who are like, oh, we have to protect our investment from potential cancellation
100%.
later.
I think they're trying to, as a company, you want to try to toe the line between the right and the left. So you have to I think that's why, in a way, I think like SBI, like Sweet Baby Inc. and like companies like that were very kind of low key and kind of hidden. I think I don't know, after seeing like they got up there and started having some press conferences or giving some speeches at conferences, and they were, I think, a little too bold. Yeah, and I think that kind of...
especially the comments that the CEO was making about, like, if they don't want to make these changes to the game, or they don't want to bring in a company like SBI, then you should go talk to the marketing team and be like, hey, you might not like what happens if you don't, you know? And you're like, oh, that's thinly veiled fucking blackmail.
Yeah. No, I definitely took that, and that was like, I think it was just a stupid statement. And I think it's just like trying to fearmonger the, like, you know, the far leftists, just being like, yeah, if you don't do what we say, then basically the woke mob is going to come after you.
Like, I mean, the fucking Kotaku chief editor, right? Like, all of her comments about all of this have just been unhinged as well. And
Kotaku and Ron have both proven themselves to be useless at this point.
Yeah. I mean, because, like, when you started reading some of the stuff from that Kotaku article last week, I was like, what the fuck is this person talking about? Because, like, completely doesn't even acknowledge, like, certain events that happen in the timeline, right? Which is, like... Because you could look at all of this as a timeline, and it's like, back in October of last year, some cuckoo on fucking Kiwi Farms made a post that was like, all of these companies are... Sweet Baby Inc. is working with all of these companies, and every game they're involved with is bad, and it's... Then they go into, like, the full-on, like, alt-right nonsense. It's like, oh, the symbol means that they are pedophiles. They're part of the pedophilic cabal. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then, like, to try and connect that to the Steam curator group, which is, like... I mean... forward-facing, like, they've just pretty much been like, hey, Sweet Baby Inc. is involved with these games, and we think that you should avoid them. Like, very, I guess, consumer-friendly in that way, and that, like, they didn't really politicize it. I think at this point it probably has been politicized a bit, just because of like, the vast number of people flocking to it. But,
But, like, Alan Wake 2 was great. Alan Wake 2 was a great game.
I wouldn't even know. I didn't
well, that's like
when it came out.
Yeah, I was like, that's I love God of War, and I enjoyed God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, God of War's great.
I thought it was. I mean, it was very fun. Like when Asmongold interviewed him, he pretty much stated flatly that he just hadn't played the game. Like, so, you know, I think the creator of the group just, you know, he's very anti anti-woke, anti. He's
I think
Giga
he is
Chad.
one of those people, but it's also not fair to call him a Nazi.
Oh no, yeah, I don't agree in calling him Nazi. I looked through like his Twitter and stuff. He looks like he's just a
Like
right wing gamer guy.
Conservative gamer dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
From Brazil.
No, I wouldn't think it's fair to call him a Nazi anyway. I didn't see anything on there related to that.
Probably not a Nazi. He does probably agree more with Andrew Tate than he disagrees with Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Oh, what, dude? You don't agree with Andrew Tate, dude? You don't think that your bitches should be bringing in $1 million a month for you?
My
I've
God.
got 10 bitches in this house. Every one of them's on OnlyFans bringing in $1 million a month. If they make less than that, I'll kick them out.
He's got something between a British accent and a Midwestern accent, and it's very baffling. It's so baffling.
Oh man.
He should fight Muppet, Mike Tyson.
Dude.
He should fight Mike Tyson.
Honestly, yeah. That'd be great. He's in prison again, though.
That might be a good fight, though, because he's pretty tall. Tyson's pretty short, but Tyson typically tore up dudes that were taller.
Did you see that he got arrested again? Like the whole controversy with that?
Yeah, but he's being extradited to the UK.
Oh, is he? Oh shit!
Mm-hmm.
I just know like apparently the streamer Aiden Ross, piece of shit as well, was like on stream and like was repeating that like Andrew Tate had like texted him to be like, I gotta get, like, I'm trying to get out of here, basically saying he was gonna flee the country, and that's what tipped off the authorities to go like grab him. So basically this fucking 20-year-old streamer got Andrew dead. I know. So basically that was the whole reason they went and grabbed Andrew Tate.
Wasn't Johnny Somali streaming on Kick? What is it with Kick streamers, dude? They're just fucking brain dead.
It's because it's so unregulated. I've been every now and then at work, I'll just do like a deep dive on some random. I'll watch like Oompaville. I don't know if you ever watch Oompaville.
Oh, I watch Oompaville.
Oompaville, great dude. I'll watch guys like that, and so they'll just do like
toting boys.
Yeah, they'll do. There've been a lot of talk about like there's like streamers on there who are just like there's like one dude who has been on there trying to get like underage girls to flash him and stuff like that, and it's just like Kick is such an unregulated platform that they just get away with this for the longest time without like any sort of consequences.
Horrible.
Yeah, I guess to be fair though, even on Twitch you got like Morgpie wearing green shorts that she's green.
Dude, that's hilarious. Honestly, hilarious. I before I know we talked about it, we were kind of like, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. That is some big brain fucking moves right there. Most clothes she's been in a while too.
Bro, you can't even jerk it to that though.
What, you're not getting on a little Fortnite gameplay?
No.
It's just
so ridiculous, man.
It's so hilarious though.
Like it's so very clearly just trying to drive traffic to her fucking OnlyFans.
Oh yeah,
whatever it is she has.
Hey, what do they say? No publicity is bad publicity, essentially.
The biggest problem with guys like Aiden is how young their audience is.
Oh like, yeah.
The majority of their audience is really young, and they're just like
imposing, just terrible.
Horrible.
He's just so stupid too. I feel like by watching him, the youth are just like draining their brain cells.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
You know what's kind of crazy? I clicked on Twitch and I opened up just chatting, and the girl at the top of the recommended one is still kind of thoughting it up, you know. So like it's still there if you want it. Girls who are marginally clothed, if you want to fucking.
I laughed so hard when Twitch removed the censoring for that like 24 to 48 hour period, and then immediately regretted their decision and put it all back.
Yeah, they're like, topless meta's okay now, and everyone is like, take this as far as we can, and then they're like, okay, you took it too far. All right.
Yeah. Oh man. Well. What a time.
I feel like that's it, right? You guys got anything else?
That's all I got. I mean, the
I've
only
got
other
nothing.
thing I could just go on is fucking Helldivers, because, whoo-wee, buddy, that's a good game.
Yeah. Maybe I'll grab it. I got paid Friday.
I mean, I'll play it for you for the one time you play it, you know?
Yeah,
Just like every other game you buy. We'll play it together one time, and then you'll never touch it again.
One shot Scott. That's what they call me.
Oh my god. Who calls you that?
No one. Me. I call
Anyways,
myself that.
my beautiful little boys, and I have no clue what our gender demographic is, but all of our listeners.
Did you actually listen to this?
Yeah, dude, we get double-digit listens.
Yeah.
I kid. Nice.
All right, I've had it up to here with you, bud.
Honestly, I should get on the X app, and I should really
Just start using all the Gamergate tags. Be
I'm
like,
100%.
If you want the true story,
I'm gonna hype it the fuck up.
and just keep posting our fucking podcasts everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every
Their
post about
publicity is
it.
our publicity.
Every post about it, I'm gonna be in the comments. I'm gonna pay the $8 for the check mark, for the blue check mark on X,
Oh,
just so I'm at the
shit.
top, just so I'm at the very top of the comments.
And delays
Hell
Helldivers
yeah.
purchased by at least another paycheck.
Oh. Anyway.
Damn, yeah.
Our beautiful little fans and our one Berlin sinner. Thank you for listening this far. If you've listened this far, if you want to follow us on other media, you can follow Scott's rampant Gamergate 2 posting on Twitter/X at BadPipesPod.
Yep, at Bad Pipes Pod.
For some unhinged reason, you wanted to financially support us renting movies every week, you could do that at the Patreon, which is patreon.com/badpipespodcast. I recently reworked it. The only membership tier we have is $1 a month. You get it all. Whatever it is, you get it. So yeah. What other media do we have?
I don't know. I think that's it.
I don't know. That's all the important shit. Music, as always, by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. Give him a listen.
Yeah. The music.
That's gonna stop right now.
You keep doing this. The music's an entirely different track that I put in.
Sharpen your editing skills.
Gaslighting me.
All right. Good night. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, fuck. I hit the recording button. Fuck. I'm going to leave this in. Fuck.